video. If you want to see my overview up to this point of the Yankees offseason, there's a video up from yesterday that you can go check out. So I suggest you go do that if you want to get my take on Aaron Judge and if you want to get my take on the Rodon signing and where they should go next. Today's video is going to cover left field and what the Yankees can pivot to now that Benintendi is off the market and signed. We could look at who is available in the free agent market and who's available for trade. Now, when you start looking at the free agent market now for the Yankees, it's very barren when it comes to the outfield. For example, you have the top, according to MLB.com, the top outfield available in left field after Benintendi is Adam Duvall. I don't think that he's a good fit. A.J. Pollock, 35 years old, back nine of his career. David Peralta, 35 years old. Robbie Grossman, Profar, Tommy Pham. You see where I'm going with this? There is nobody here that is listed as a left fielder that can replace a 304 average. You have veterans. You have guys who are maybe getting one of the last contracts of their career. Guys who are very extremely high risk. No control. You bring them in for a year and see if they can produce. Now, that's not the route I want to go. Even if you look at center fielders, if you look at right fielders, there's Michael Conforto. You want to bring in Conforto, a guy who hasn't played in over a year, turned down $100 million from the Mets, didn't play last year. Shoulder, you don't know what you're going to get with his shoulder, and he's never played left field. He's a right fielder. So where does he fit? He doesn't fit. So based on what I'm looking at here, based on the remaining free agents, there is no free agent outfielder that can come in and be your everyday left fielder and produce at a level that you need him to. Remember, going back to the last video, we need high contact players. High contact guys that can hit for average, put the ball in play, and keep the strikeout down. Now, the biggest name that's out there is Brian Reynolds. Now, I touched on him a little bit yesterday, but if you go back and look at his numbers over the past 4 seasons, and you look at his average, he hit 314 in 2019, he hit 109 in 2020, in only 208 plate appearances. He hit 302 in 2021, and he hit 262 in 2022 with a batting average against with balls in play at 306. So if you take the shift away, maybe he hits over 300. Strikeout rate is over 20%. It's at 21.3%. And this is all according to Fangraphs. And he's projected again to hit 266, have an on-base percentage of about 350, hit about 24 bombs, score 90 runs, and steal 7 bases with 81 ribbies. Now, the 266 needs to be higher. We have plenty of guys that hit in the 260s. We have plenty of guys that are under 300. Now, if you get DJ back and healthy, producing like he did the first few years he was in pinstripes, then maybe, that's another 300 hitter right now there. Maybe you could get Rizzo's average up from the 220s that it was all the way up to 280 or 270, depending on what the shift does for him. But when you talk about Reynolds now, it's not just about the numbers that he can produce. It's about the financials around him that are going to cost you a premium. He's 27 years old. He only has a little over 3 years of service time. He's a free agent in 2026, and he's arbitration eligible in 2024. So you have control for a long time. That type of player is going to cost you. Now, what would you give up? Now, for me, I hear the name Dominguez. I hear one of the shortstops, Glaber. Like I said yesterday, Glaber's not going anywhere because of the health of DJ LeMahieu. You can't afford to trade Glaber. So now, if you look at the way the outfield is shaping up, Bader's a free agent at the end of next year. You got him for one more year. You got him for a full season. Who's not to say they don't bring him back on a bigger deal? So if you trade for a guy like Reynolds, that makes Dominguez, who's close, right? He's close. He's about 2 years away. Maybe sooner if he can have a good year this year. Maybe you see him in September. But you're going to block him by trading for a guy like Reynolds. So is that something you want to do? Now, I got no problem giving up one of the shortstop prospects. And I got no problem giving up Peraza. I got no problem giving up Sweeney. I definitely have a problem with giving up Volpe. Volpe to me is an untouchable. You don't trade him. But when you talk about a guy like Reynolds, who has a lot of years of control, who is still on the right side of 30, he's 27, 6'3", 205, another big boy. What do you do? Do you really gut the farm system to trade him? And who's to say the Pirates want to trade him? Just because he requested a trade doesn't mean the Pirates are going to field any offers. They might be asking for the farm. And they'll go back to him and say, listen, we offered, nobody wanted to trade for you. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to him, they were asking for 4 or 5 pieces. The Pirates, are nowhere near ready to contend. And they're going to try to get as much as they can in return to compete. The Pirates are a small market. They can't go out and spend tons and tons of money. So they're going to have to do it through trades. Now, when you look at Reynolds, he's somebody that, it's nice to dream about, but you only trade for him in the right situation. You don't need to give up 3 of your best prospects for one guy. That doesn't make sense. Yes, I know the Yankees hold on to their prospects and they don't pan out. Look at Frazier. Didn't pan out. I remember Cashman saying he has the fastest bat speed I've ever seen. He can't even find a job. Got designated for assignment in Yankee Stadium last year with the Cubs. So, he didn't turn out. Andujar, now a Pirate, traded. Could have had Garrett Cole earlier. Didn't want to trade Andujar to Pittsburgh for Garrett Cole. Who else was there? Who else are these Tyler Austin. When's the last time you heard about anything about him? The Yankees have a problem with developing talent and these prospects. And do you trade them before they realize their potential or before they don't realize their potential and you get an asset back? Or do you hold on to your homegrown talent and let them play? Look at Oswaldo Cabrera, for example. You let him play, he flourished. He didn't really do it much with the bat. He really contributed defensively. He had one big hot streak at the end of the regular season, didn't do much in the playoffs. Peraza didn't really get a shot because of IKF. And Volpe's not ready yet. Volpe needs to be down in AAA. You might not see him until June, July at the earliest of next year, if that. And they might take an injury to bring him up. Now, the other name, that's enough on Reynolds. Reynolds, to me, is too expensive. He's going to cost too much. And you don't need to trade the farm for one guy who's not a pitcher. You should go after pitching. You don't have to go trade for a bat that didn't, he has 2 years over 300, yes. But he's not, if you look at his projections, he's not going to hit over 270. You don't need that type of guy. You don't need him. The next name that's been coming around now that the Twins have signed Joey Gallo, good luck with him, is Max Kepler. Now, Matt Kepler is in the middle of a 5-year, $35 million deal with a club option for 2024. So he's pretty much on a 1-year deal at $7 million a season. Last year, he hit .227, 9 home runs in 115 games, under about 450 plate appearances. Why? Why? Why is this guy even on our radar? Well, he's not, he bats lefty. He's got a lefty bat, which is nice for Yankee Stadium, of course. But we already have enough guys who hit that with a low average, who don't put the ball in play, who struggle. Now, if you look at over his career, he's been with the Twins since 2015. His highest batting average was 252 in 2019. He had 36 home runs, he had 90 RBIs, 98 runs scored. He had a strikeout percentage of about 16, a little over 16, and he had 244. 2020, he hit 249, so he's a 250 hitter. Again, doesn't really fit what you need. And, maybe you get him for cheaper. Maybe you get him for lower level prospects and you're able to keep him and it's only, you take a shot on him for a year at $7 million. Maybe you do that, but he's not the type of player we're looking for. He's not. He didn't play any games in left field last year. Played 110 in right. He played 3 in center. So he didn't even play left field last year. And for everybody watching, you should know that left field is not easy to play in Yankee Stadium. You pretty much need a center fielder over there. That's why Brett Gardner was so good. You can't just stick somebody in left field at Yankee Stadium. It's not going to work. You need a good defensive outfielder to play left field. So Kepler, to me, again, not moving the needle for me. Not at all. Now, the Yankees are also tied to the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks have an abundance of outfielders available. And, they're young. You don't really hear about them because they're in Arizona. But this one kid who might be able to provide something. Young, he's controllable. He hit 283 last year. The kid's name is McCarthy. I think it's Jake McCarthy. So, his name has been thrown up. And let me pull up what his deal is. Give me a minute as it loads. So, let's see. He's been up and down at the major league level. He started the year in AAA. He hit 369 in AAA. All right, in 36 games, 165 plate appearances. So, in 99 games with the Diamondbacks last year, in 354 plate appearances, he hit 8 homers. He stole 23 bases. And he hit 283. Now, he only has 1 year, he's got 0.175 service time. So it's not even a year. So you would have him under control for 6 years. He's 25 years old, lefty bat, full lefty. He's played all over the outfield. He's played 47 games in right, 32 games in left field. There you go. There's one of them, finally. And he's played 12 games in center field. So he's played all 3 outfield positions at least 10 times, all 3 of them. He DH'd 11. He's projected, now, I guess it's because it's a full season, he's projected to hit 260. Now, he's a young, athletic ball player. You have him for 6 years. He was he hasn't played a full season in the major leagues yet. So maybe you get him for even cheaper than Kepler. Now, the problem is that if you're looking at his raw numbers, yes. But if you're looking at how much service time he has and how long the Yankees have to wait to pay him, his price just went up. So let's really be realistic here. So, is it? I think the top three prospects for a trade are Reynolds, Kepler, and McCarthy. Now, if it was my decision, I'd go after McCarthy. Got him under control until 2029. Kid's got speed. Kid's played all three outfield positions, so you can move him around if you need to when you need to give Judge a day off. And then you can put Oswaldo out there as well. He's shown that he could swing the bat for average. AAA last year, he had a 13% strikeout rate in 165 at-bats. So, he's proven he could put the ball in play. He's young. He's under control. He's 25 years old. Sounds like a leadoff hitter to me. I would trade for this guy and stick him in the leadoff spot. What do you got to lose? There's nobody else on the market that you can go after. I think the other, Max Kepler, I can't even believe the Yankees would actually make a deal with the Twins for Max Kepler. He's the opposite of what they need. So you go from McCarthy, which is a semi-cheaper bet than that of Brian Reynolds. And you go from there. And if he does struggle, he still has options. You can send him back down. You got him under control. You have a ball player. Now, it might be the hot take. A lot of Yankee fans are calling for Brian Reynolds. They want Brian Reynolds. They want to trade every prospect for Brian Reynolds, setting over a package of Dominguez and Peraza and Sweeney and pitching and this and that. We're not trading for Babe Ruth here. So why not hold on to your prospects? Now, is McCarthy a risk because there's no big projection of what he can turn out to be? Of course. It's a high risk, high reward. He might have some 2020 seasons in him. 20 bombs, 20 stolen bases. He's shown he can steal bases at the major league level. If you go back and look at Brian Reynolds' numbers, he's got 16 total stolen bases in his career. 16. McCarthy at 23 in 99 games. So that tells me right there. He's a guy that could steal bases. He's a guy, especially now with these new rules, with the pitch clock, after you can't throw over. After the second time you throw over, you don't get him. It's a balk. So you automatically get the green light after the pitcher's thrown over twice. You know he can't throw over. Stolen bases are going to go up this year. It's a bigger premium than in years past. So I like the guy who could steal bases, can play a decent left field for us. He can play all over the outfield if you need him, when you have to give Judge a blow or you got to give Bader a blow. You still got Stanton that can play every once in a while. So if you bring in McCarthy, and maybe you can get a salary dump, and you can send Hicks over in that deal with another prospect, maybe another 2 prospects. But if you said that you can get McCarthy for Hicks, Sweeney, and a prospect, another pitching prospect, a mid-level pitching prospect, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. But that type of deal is not going to go over with Brian Reynolds. It's going to take Hicks, it's going to take Peraza, and it might take another 2 prospects after that. So you really got to look at, you can't just trade the farm, because these players, this window, this core is getting older. Judge is over 30. He's going to start the season at 31. His birthday's in the beginning of April. So you don't want to trade your highly touted outfield prospect in Jason Dominguez for a quick fix. You don't want to do that. Yeah, it's win now, but you also got to think about 4-5 years when you're still in the middle of the Judge contract and you still want to compete, and you bring up Dominguez to play center field. If the Yankees could bring back Bader on a 3-year deal after this year, it fits perfectly. That outfield would be perfect. You're going to have a guy like Dominguez who could put the ball in play, switch hitter, speed, 5-tool guy. I think it's something to think about. It really is. You tell me. You tell me what you think. I really do think that McCarthy, out of the 3 trade candidates that I listed, McCarthy, Kepler, and Reynolds, that McCarthy is the best fit. He is the best fit. Just looking at the numbers and looking at what the numbers are telling us, because baseball is all about numbers nowadays. What are the analytics telling you? Now, I disagree with analytical baseball, but at the same time, that's what their metrics are. That's what they're using to measure these players. They're looking at their WRC+. They're looking at their expected batting average with balls in play. They're looking at their OBP. They're looking at their OPS. And I think McCarthy, over the course of his career, will have a better career than Brian Reynolds will. But you tell me what you think in the comment section below. This is all I got for today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Signing off. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video.